guess. Doing this video is a response to a friend of mine. Somebody I'd like to be more than a friend, but a friend of mine that I think we agree on most things. We disagree to a small extent on a few things. I'd like to maybe underline, define my viewpoints and how I feel. So obviously we both agree that Trump is bad. Trump led the country in a dangerous direction. What he did was reckless, unthoughtful, and it was wrong. And a message got to be made so that there isn't a precedent set by Trump's presidency as well. So, sorry. I think Trump, what he did was bad, but I look more at Trump as the, like the good old boy corruption of the back in the day. Trump was the movie called, with the prison movie they had years ago, Shawshank Redemption. He's the Shawshank Redemption boss hog corruption. Remember they came in with a cake box full of money? That's what he was. That's what he was. I don't believe a lot of what Trump talked about could happen or could be done. I think that Trump was basically he was actually running, throwing meat to the dogs. And I think in large part that was successful. I think that a lot of it's, I've talked about it, it's not possible. You can't do those things. The world has moved beyond. I'm not going to say you don't have bigots and people like that, but now you have hate crime laws. Now you have laws to where you just can't do that. Now you've got gay police chiefs out here. You've got, black sheriffs and stuff. I think the world has moved beyond this. Oh, if I sit on the same toilet seat as him, I might catch the gay. The vaccine, I think the world's moved beyond that. And I think sometimes we're drawn to this because they're the loudest thing in the room and they're dangerous. And there's a danger. Like I told Fernanda, I said, when you look at Eric Rudolph, Timothy McVeigh, she didn't know who those guys were. Timothy McVeigh was the Oklahoma City bombing. Eric Rudolph did the Olympic bombing back in 96. A series of bombings. When you look at these situations, the lone wolves, that's what I worry about. These lone wolves, these guys coming out of the service, and that's more than Trump. That's speaking to a culture of war, speaking to a culture of belligerence, a culture of violence. That speaks to that and how we need to end these wars because you get these people. What was the guy, Whitman? The University of Texas shooter shot from the tower. Yeah, he was a Marine, I think, wasn't he? Kennedy's guy, Kennedy's murderer. He was a Marine. I don't believe he did it, but he was a Marine. You look back, there's a history of people with former military service that go on to do horrendous crimes, and that's a fact, And I think that we shouldn't ignore that. These guys come from a culture of violence. They come from what I call a culture of death. And I think that needs to be dealt with and recognized for what it is. But that isn't just Trump. That's America. Fern, she thinks about, they're gonna, the police, you can defund the police, rid of the police. I don't agree. I'm with her on a lot of things. I guess I'm just more thankful about recognizing how far we've come on the left. And I think sometimes she thinks I'm saying that we're good. We need to go any further. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that recognize how far we've come from the 70s, from the 60s. That's all I'm saying. That's the point I'm making here, is that we've come a long way. I think Trump's whole thing, his whole shtick was about cutting taxes for his class, his oligarchic class, you know, and being buddy with Bezos and being buddy with other billionaires and fascists. I think being a president was a avenue, was a way in which to get power. And that's just what Trump wanted. Period. You know, it was like Rockefellers or something. We're gonna get in here, take our money. You know, you might like what we talk about, but that's not really the point of why we're here. It's to change the world in our image, in our likeness thereof. That's what Trump was. So that's how I remember Trump. You know, personally myself, I'll remember him as a person that really didn't care about the harm he did. I think that Trump. See, one thing I learned with Trump is that the elites are more powerful. I always said that there'd come a time where you'd have corporations be more powerful than government. And I think we're in that era now. And I you know, I mean, I'm sure a lot of people didn't like Trump. And I'm sure there's a lot of people who love Trump for the cruelty and the racism and the homophobia. I get it. But I think at the end of the day, what really happened with Trump is the elite got impatient. Period. See, Trump wants to get in. He wanted to get in and create little things to save his money and make his money and little, you know, crooked shit. The elite want business. They want to make money. You can't make money when there's a global pandemic. Whether you believe in a pandemic or whether you don't believe in a pandemic. Trump scared a lot of people. What does that mean? Scared people don't shop. And that means they're not spending money. So what Trump did for a span of time was make the country unstable. And thus to make the world unstable as as well. Big argument for that. They didn't like that. They didn't want another 4 years of that. They didn't want instability. See, I realize for these quackers, they need instability because that's just, you understand, they live in opposition to science. They live in opposition to reality. And I've come to understand that that's just what it is. That for them, like I told you, I guess I always thought with rednecks that maybe they just didn't know. Maybe they just, it's ignorance. Like I'm ignorant of economics. I'm ignorant of certain things. Not because I want to be. I ain't sat down and read a book. Doesn't make me a bad person. I always thought red is ignorant. And I understand with Trump that's not really what it is. That for them it wasn't ignorance. For them it's a cruelty. For them, they're at that point now to where the technology has proceeded to where they can show you how climate change affects us. And for the rednecks, they're going to just choose to just say, nah, I don't believe in any of it. I deny it. It's all just communist propaganda, Chinese. That's where we're at now. You can't reason with that. And there's a rage in it too. You can't reason with that. This idea that people who believe in climate change just want to destroy the economy of the United States. That's a little demented. That's a little demented. That's like saying they believe the Democrats set up COVID just to hurt Trump. A lot of those people in Congress have businesses. A lot of those folks are millionaires. You think they would destroy not only destroy their businesses, but destroy entire job fields just to hurt Trump? No, I don't buy it. I don't buy it. That's like I don't buy it. Once again, I think the elite felt like Trump made the country unstable. And I almost kind of think that at some point they might have warned him or told him. And Trump's like, no, we're going to do it anyway. I'm just going to scorch the earth. We're getting it, baby. This is the Trump era. What is Sessions said Trump era? A part of me almost thinks they warned him, and that for him it was kind of like a badge of honor. You understand? That's what I think about Trump. I think that Trump was a crook and a criminal and a swindler and a shiesty motherfucker. And the things he said were dangerous. And the moves he made would cost lives. Will cost lives. A lot of them. And he knew it. I don't want to downplay the seriousness of another Trump presidency. But this idea that there's this conspiracy and they're going to... I think that's got more to do with, like, fear of people. People, like... It's kind of like when Bush was in office, somebody asked me about the draft. And I was like, I'm not going to draft anybody. And, you know, I think it's kind of like that. It's the understanding that if these old white men can't get their way, they'll just start drafting people. They'll just start doing... Because they've done it in the past. I think that's really people's fear, Fern's fear, maybe her friend's fear. I get it. I understand it. But the world moved beyond it. Like I told you before in another video, when Trump talked about how we're going to roll back the transgender discrimination stuff, hey, there's a lot of hospitals that ban that. Which, you know, when Trump talked about water-saving toilets, a lot of people have water-saving appliances right now. A lot of people. And those things have become so commonplace that's not even something to talk about. Look at your water heater right now. I bet you it's got water-saving sticker on the side of it. Your dishwashers. A lot of that's got water-saving stuff. So this notion that, you know, like all that was bullshit. You couldn't do that. Like you can't go in a store right now probably and say, I want shit that's not energy saving. You can't do it. Now, when I was a kid, hey, you know, I didn't like the dishwasher. It didn't work as well. You know, when I was a kid, you know, you had water-saving toilets that didn't work as well. When I was a kid, yes. But the world has moved beyond that. The technology has evolved. That's how things work, guys. At the end of the day, people want to save money. No. What Trump did with his rhetoric was give a bunch of dumb, bigoted rednecks who don't like science, who don't believe in science, a reason to not believe in science. That's what Trump fucking did. But average people aren't like that. Average people are like, if you can do something that saves me money, and you can do it, that's all people care about. They don't give a shit about. People want easy, cheap, free shit. Period. Ain't nobody gonna buy something just so they can be like, oh, see, we're making mockery of these eggheads. Nobody thinks like this. Except these bigoted fucking rednecks. That's it. Nobody else. Oh, one more thing too. What about other countries that have energy saving? So these businesses, even if 90% of America woke up the ball and said, you know what, we're getting rid of all energy saving equipment, like it's all communist. If it happened, they can just sell this shit to Europe, overseas. So this technology is not going anywhere. Energy saving technology is not going anywhere. Homophobic shit's not going anywhere. Transphobic shit's not going anywhere. Don't be so gentle with the thugs. All that stuff's not going anywhere. There's no long-term view there. It's all just basically what Trump was. Take Michael Brooks. Trump was we're going to run into the brick wall. We're going to run into the brick wall. We're going to push the pedal down full speed, and we're going to wreck this bitch. That's Trump's policy. That's the Trump era to me. We're going to just cause chaos. We're going to cause as much controversy as humanly possible. We're going to do as much damage as we can to minorities, sexual and otherwise, and we're going to just cause havoc and chaos. And then if we don't get reelected, we'll just burn this bitch. Scorch earth like the Romans. We're going to just spread salt everywhere so you can't grow nothing. That's what Trump was. But this idea, for one thing, the climate change science is pretty much accepted by most people. That ain't went nowhere. So, what the rednecks are essentially saying is, I don't want to read it. I don't want to learn about science. This stuff hurts. This stuff hurts America, and it hurts our communities. That's it. That's rationally all rednecks are. They're not saying, well, I don't believe in climate change because X times Y equals Z. They're not saying that. They're not looking at it rationally. And so they basically, like, we've been talking about this for a long time. Scientists have been talking about this for a long time. Economists have been talking about this for a very long time. What would the era of climate change look like when things get bad? How would that look? We're there now. And with Trump, we're basically getting the redneck response, which is, I don't believe in any of it. I don't want to read it. I don't want to form my own opinion. Trump makes me feel good. Trump makes us, when he talk, what did he say? They're not after me, they're after you. Talking about the legal proceedings against them. Yeah. Come on, man. Come on. What this is. I just feel that, for one thing, Trump has no legacy. I mean, Pitts came out and said, hey, I don't agree with them on that day, and now they're saying, like, they don't even talk anymore. So guess what? Biden won't run with Pence again. Look at all the people that left Mattis, Tillerson, his boy from Exxon, Tillerson, Mattis, Mad Dog Mattis left him, Bannon. All these folks that left him, he ain't bringing them back. So Trump has no legacy. Trump has no team to fall back on. Trump has nobody of any legitimacy to really fall back on. And that means that he's alone. He's just some old carnival barker. The lights have been turned out. Theme park is closed. Everybody done left just about. It's the janitor out there sweeping. And he's still up there screaming and hollering. That's Trump. Yeah, he's still out there. He ain't going nowhere. We know that. But there's no future to Trumpism. There's no future to white supremacy, period. Everybody knows that. I hope Fern understands that I'm not downplaying Trump. And I'm not downplaying the danger. I'm not downplaying by any means. I'm simply making the point that I think that that dog won't hunt. That boat won't float, in essence. That's all I'm saying.